So it's the 17th century and you decide to take a voyage from England all the way across the Atlantic to the New World. You hitch a ride on a ship with a charitable captain. You eventually land on the east coast of America. You move inland a little bit, put up stakes and look at starting a dynasty and a new way of life. Sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? Unless your name happens to be Barnabas Sackett. What's up guys, welcome back to Unlimited Reads. My name is Chris and today I'll be giving my first book review as part of the most excellent reading project, June on the Range, created by prominent booktuber Michael K. Vaughan. The book I chose to read first in the project was Sackett's Land, the first in a sweeping multi-generational saga, written by Louis L'Amour, first published in 1975, and look, to be honest, I didn't know what to expect coming into this because I had never read this style of Western before. Once I spent a few pages getting used to L'Amour's writing style, everything else just flowed and I absolutely flew through it. I couldn't put it down. Even being just a little over 200 pages, it read like an absolute epic. I really enjoyed it and I plan on reading more books in the Sackett Family Saga. I think all up, there's about 17 titles to the series, so there's a fair bit to get through. But am I going to read all of them as part of the project? Probably not, and I have changed my plans slightly as of today, which I'll talk about at the end of the video. So I've just changed things slightly on how I'm going to move forward with my participation in the project, but stay tuned for that. But I always like to start with what the book is about, and I'll read off the cover copy for you. Son of a feared fighting man, Barnabas Sackett inherited his father's fiery temper, sense of justice and warrior skills. Declared an outlaw in his native England, Barnabas sets his daring sights on the new opportunities of the New World. The ruthless piracy of the open seas and the unknown dangers of the savage American wilderness lay before him. And so did the thrill of discovery and the chance to establish a bold new future if he survived. So we first meet Barnabas as a quarry worker one day, and he happens to find a few old Roman coins buried in a mount. And he believes with this windfall, he harbours dreams of a new life, and he sets his sight on realising his dream of travelling to the New World and hopefully trying to make a new life in America. He feels drawn to it and infatuated by this new land. And he ends up making an enemy of a local aristocrat or nobleman called Rupert Genesta. All Barnabas did to cross paths with him is to offer a lady a glass of water or a cup of water because she appeared thirsty, and Genesta didn't like that and started an altercation with Barnabas Sackett. Now Sackett, being because he has the blood of his father in him, he wasn't just going to bow down and take it up the arse. He retaliated. And because he retaliated and defended himself and embarrassed Genesta, he now has a mark on his back to be hung in the town square. So already we're seeing a lot of conflict that Louis L'Amour has created. So it's not just a matter of Barnabas Sackett just jumping on a ship and sailing off to merry old America. There's a lot more to it than that, and there are all sorts of obstacles that get in his way as the novel unfolds. So one thing leads to another, and Sackett eventually arrives on the coast of America, but not in the way he first thought. What he did was strike up a deal with a local captain of a ship, and it was going to be smooth sailing, no pun intended. He was going to hitch a ride and head to the New World and explore the land, but that didn't happen. Instead, he found himself unconscious and waking up on a pirate's boat where Genesta had arranged for Sackett to be thrown overboard halfway between England and America. So not a thrilling prospect. But the tides turn, and eventually Sackett escapes and makes it to the New World. He meets the Native Americans there, and for a little while he trades with them. So in exchange for his goods, they trade him skins, which fetch a pretty good dollar back in England. And eventually we find out later on in the book that the altercation between Genesta and Sackett, there's a bit more to it than that. It turns out that Genesta's uncle used to be a friend of Sackett's father in the war, and the uncle feels that he owes the senior Sackett something, and ends up wanting to bequeath all his wealth to Barnabas Sackett. And of course the jealous nephew in Genesta doesn't really like that, and so that starts a bit of a grudge and an ongoing rivalry between the two characters throughout the book. And I really enjoyed how Louis L'Amour made up characters to support Sackett in the form of travelling companions, so he didn't have to go through his whole ordeal alone. And the other good thing about the book is we know that foreshadowed on the horizon, Barnabas will create a new family and does settle in the new world, and we get to meet for the first time his I believe it's going to be his future wife in Abigail, who appears like just Barnabas's ideal match, because he doesn't want to settle for just someone ordinary. He wants to settle down and find a woman that can actually give him a bit of a challenge as well. So it looks like he chooses his wife very carefully, and it looks as if it's the start of a pretty bright future. But I think the best thing about the novel is the conflict that Louis L'Amour created. It's not just pirates, it's nature itself. It's the Native American Indians that cause a bit of danger as well. And, you know, for such a short book, there was a lot of obstacles in Sackett's way. And it made for a really compelling read, because I thought, you know, it was just going to be a basic story. I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't expect to be enthralled as much as I was with all the action and adventure, and adventure on the high seas, and pirates, and sword fights, and running for your life, and all this sort of stuff. So I think all up, the book was very, very satisfying. Very, very pleased with it. As I said, I didn't quite know what to expect going in, and I'm just glad I picked it up. And I'm going to be reading more of the Sacketts in the future. In fact, at the time of filming this, I'm about to start the second book, which is To the Far Blue Mountains, which is a little bit thicker than the first one, so it should have a little bit of meat to it. It's about just under 300 pages, this one, but I am very curious as to what is in store for Sackett next, and wouldn't mind getting through as many of the books as I can. But the writing is very, very polished. Louis L'Amour has a really good way with words. He creates really, really good characters. He describes battles really, really well. He has a good knowledge of nautical themes and things like that, and it was just good that we got a glimpse of how Sackett becomes infatuated with the prospect of a new life. So all up, really, really enjoyed Sackett's Land. Now, I did mention at the start of the video that my plans will change slightly for June on the Range. I was going to read quite a few of the Sackett books, and I'm still going to read as many as I can, but I've decided to bring in a new title to the project, and this only just came about today, as a matter of fact, when I happened upon a second-hand copy of Larry McMurtry's next novel after Lonesome Dove, but set before Lonesome Dove, and that is The Streets of Laredo, where we see Captain Call in his youth as a Texas Ranger this time. I always planned on reading the other books by Larry McMurtry. This just gave me an excuse to bring that forward, and I thought, because it's June on the Range, this fits in with the requirements, apart from the book length. But I think Michael would forgive me for breaking that rule, because it's such an iconic book, and can't wait to really start this one. I mean, it's what are we looking at, 567 pages, so I'd probably be devoting the last week and a half to 2 weeks of June just reading this one, and I really, really want to get stuck into it. And it's a really decent copy that I found today as well, so really, really pleased about that. But overall, yeah, I'm looking forward to reading more Sackett books, and I'm enjoying the project so far. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Offer up any comments below as per usual. I'll always respond to that. And until the next video, guys, which won't be far away, I'll catch you later.